But I can tell you, growing up, I never thought in a million years that people would listen to me for my brains or listen to, how I analyze stocks or, have over 100,000 people downloading the podcast and trying to help you out in investing, how to analyze companies, how to use economics, and government policies to find new sectors and companies to invest in. I always thought maybe, be a basketball coach who would listen to me about, basketball skills and everything that I played for my whole entire life. I never thought it would be this. I mean, I was a pretty bad kid growing up. Not terrible, not horrible, but I hung out with a bad crowd. Guys that dealt drugs, carried guns, stole cars. They got to have basketball. This way I wasn't doing any crazy stuff. But I was around it a lot. I mean, I got left back in the seventh grade, where my science teacher brought me up in front of the class. Right? This is at St. Matthias in Ridgewood, New York. In front of the class and said, Frank, you're not going to amount to anything ever. You just need to know that. And her face was just like so serious. Even today, like I'm like, holy cow, this piece of shit. Anyway, I use that as motivation. But I look at that today and it's funny, I mean, I lived in my house until I was 27, which I totally forgot. I just took my mom out. Hanging out to grab something to eat, and she said, "Yeah, you were 27 before you moved." I said, "Really?" And my parents like having me around because I was the youngest, the last one, and probably they're like, "Oh, I would think me. I can't wait. My daughters go." So I have a little bit of free time, and of course, when that happens, I'm gonna miss them to death. And by the way, shout out to my daughter Brianna, who's gonna be 13 on Friday. Teenager. I'm willing to accept any emails, frankcurzioresearch.com, on how to handle a girl that's just becoming a teenager. So it's going to be that I hate you dad stage for a little while, but I always hear that they come back later on. So we'll see, but it's going to be interesting. But 27, right? Isn't that crazy? I didn't even know that. But since my dad passed, I started taking everything very seriously. I learned as much as I can from like the year where things started getting bad. I spent a lot of time with him, wheeling around a wheelchair, asking millions of questions, and it was good. It was keeping his mind off of everything. I mean, he had lung cancer, chemo, lost a ton of weight, couldn't walk anymore. I mean, it's nothing anyone, hopefully a lot of you don't have to go through that. It's painful, but I use that opportunity to really get close and learn everything. Then I spent time building up my network, getting out there, learning everything I can from people who are smarter than me, who have decades of experience. The reason why I could have went to, not that I had, a lot of openings, but with Kramer, I had a little bit of in. He knew who my dad was. He interviewed him before on CNBC and stuff. And he said, "Yeah, we'd love to have you." And, and I'm glad I did that. I mean, it gave me a whole education on growth stocks, which is, you'll see a lot of growth stocks in our portfolios now. A lot of people just don't understand growth and how you could buy a stock with a 60, 70 PE. But, you could say that about Amazon when it was trading at 50 and it's 3,300 today, right? So just having that education, having the value, combining that, I mean, it was the greatest education ever. And over that time, I realized or learned a few things. And I'm going to go over the couple with you because, they've helped me. And I learned never to be closed-minded. And I see guys like Peter Schiff, you have Dent, Permabaz. You'll see me on Twitter just rant about Peter Schiff sometimes because he talks about, he hates everybody. It's everybody, he talks about everybody. Just basically telling everyone since 2012 that Bitcoin's the worst investment ever. You're an idiot if you buy it, and continues to say that. Like he's great at stirring up troll entertainment and he's got tons of followers. Good for him. That's great. But you have to be careful of people who are just closed-minded, that are just, live in a certain way and they're never gonna change. Like I talk about Shift Dent Permabase, where everything sucks unless it's gold. Be open to change, especially when you get older. I mean, you have to, if the variables change, you need to change. I was crazy bearish on the market. We were able to get out a lot of stocks in my portfolio when the market crashed in February. And I said, this is going to be one of the greatest buying opportunities ever. I thought it would be a year from now. I didn't know it would be a month and a half where it started going up. And then I realized, holy cow, the trillions and trillions of dollars. I mean, it is unbelievable to see how much money they are throwing into the system. And this is where it's cool on our Curzio Research YouTube page, because I like to bring up things and This is a report from Bank of America, just to show you guys, this is kind of America. This is crazy. It's just crazy. But so fiscal monetary policy tracker, and it shows, percent of GDP and the amount of monetary and fiscal for each country broken down. Now, Italy is 73% of GDP. Germany provided 70%. You have Japan 68%, and then you have U.S., which is close to 40%. They lowered rates by 1.5%. The total spend here is $8.3 trillion. So it's 3.7 for fiscal that they spent so far, and 4.6 for monetary, and that's just the beginning. These are trillions, guys, trillions of dollars. Trillions. I mean, to put that in perspective, you think about it. If you put it in perspective, it's what we have a TARP, $470 billion to stabilize the whole financial world and all the banks, right? Stabilize the whole global system. Trillions, and more is coming. They're giving checks away. So, you have to be able to change. The liquidity is going to go crazy. Low interest rates. Buy assets. Buy aggressive stocks. Time to take on risk. Know what's going to rotate. That's really, really important. But you have to be open to change. You have to be able to adapt, or you'll die. I had so many people tell me I can't do something. You can't do, trust me, you're going to be told this a ton over your life. There's no way you could do that. You can't do that. No way. Someone tells you can't do something, practice until you can kick their ass in it. Use the word no. If I tell you no, use that as motivation. People make fun of you, use as motivation. I was a pretty big kid. I wasn't bullied, but people made fun of me and fat in school, just like kids do. And I use that, especially in basketball. When I played those kids in basketball, I knew who the ones that said things. And believe me, by the end of the game, they were not happy. Because I spent 3-4 days leading up to that game shooting tons of shots, locking them down. As soon as the guy came into the gym, I was guarding him. Couldn't even get to his bench. That's how competitive I was. And motivated I was. To be humble. Most entrepreneurs, their early ventures don't work. If you talk to them, they didn't, hey, I decided to start this company and it worked. No, a lot of them fail. And they take those lessons learned and apply them in the future. But, be humble. You can be humble and confident, right? A lot of people aren't humble. It's the downfall of Donald Trump. You can't argue. You could argue if you want. I know people hate him to death. His policies were good, but he's not humble. He's like, I did this. I'm great. I'm that. I can tell you, most Trump supporters, it's not like you're in love with them. We just, believe in entrepreneurship and less government and less taxes and stuff, which is fine. And Democrats, again, it should be an open discussion. But being humble would have gone a long way instead of, losing Arizona because you trashed John McCain. Trashed him. What are you thinking? And you lose that state and you're surprised. But, humble is a very important quality. Fortunately, even in the political world, none of them commit and say, hey, you know what? We got this right. Everyone's right on COVID. They're all right. All these deaths, everything, everybody's right. You can't say, well, you know what? We were wrong at the beginning, but we learned, and now this is how we're dealing with it. But if you notice, everybody talks about how right they are on COVID all the time. Be humble. That builds character. It's you trust people like that. You don't see that often. You must be confident. That's important with entrepreneurship. Whether that's because you really know your field or you're incredibly street smart, which I would say is my biggest asset. Be able to read people, see who's full of shit in seconds. That's something you don't teach in books. Anyone can read a book and say, okay, this is what I learned. It's how you apply that. And also, meetings and getting to see people. It's not easy, right? Some people are not people persons, whatever. They like to be in crowds and talk to people. But being street smart is huge. Think about the greatest athletes in the world. If you look at Tom Brady, you look at Michael Jordan, Gretzky, Mayweather, Serena Williams. What do they have in common? They are confident as hell. They believe they're the greatest and they're going to destroy anyone that wants to take their crown. They always find ways to compete within the competition or make everything a competition, right? Even if they make them up. You saw that with Jordan during the series. He was just, talk about players and this guy said I can't guard him and this and that. And then, they questioned him and said, really? Is that true? He's like, just things that they, just their way of thinking. It's got to be a competition. I got to win. I'm the greatest. You have to have that confidence while being humble. Talk to everyone. Seriously, talk to everyone and respect everyone. I mean, you never know who that person's going to be, right? Or sometimes is that you're talking to. I mean, I know a guy, I thought he was from the military. I played basketball, a great guy. And then, we went out for drinks, hung out, met his wife, cool with my wife. And I didn't even know the guy, he's not in the military. He owns, a huge bunch of gas stations, huge business, has a bunch of houses and everything. Not that makes him smart or whatever. I mean, but, I treated him as if I would treat anybody. And that's how you treat everyone the same. I mean, I never changed my personality for anyone. And I guess if I knew the background, sometimes some of the people I met, I may act, tone it down a little bit. But, they kind of like that because they're not used to it, especially if, very successful people and they're wealthy and people, they're so used to everyone kissing their ass. For me, I don't kiss anyone's ass. I'm just me. That's it. Be yourself. You can look in the mirror. That's it. It's important. But definitely, talk to everyone. And don't care what anyone's occupation is, right? You can always learn something from someone. If you think about what does the word smart mean? I mean, I've got emails, Frank, you're smart with your stock picks in, I'm a stock analyst. I don't know. Is that smart? I know my field. I feel like I'm the best in the world at it. That's, I'm confident. I am humble. I get it wrong sometimes, and I break it down because I want to be perfect. And I know a lot of people listen to me on my stock ideas and pay for my research services. If I get shit wrong, people lose money. I take it personally. But smart? I don't know. I mean, my mechanic is smart. A cab driver is incredibly smart. And they're going to tell you more about the local economy than any economist. Trust me on that. And most economists, looking at bell curves. I mean, how many economists are conversationalists that you can really sit down and have a good conversation? Very rare. Very rare. They dry. I've interviewed economists. I love talking about the economy. I don't explain in bell curves, but, the economy is around. You look at a cab driver, Uber driver. I mean, they see everything, right? How people are spending their money, what hotels they're staying at, which months are the busiest in that area, what new events are going on, more houses being built in it. They know everything about that community. I don't care where you go and who picks you up. Have a conversation with them. They're dying to have a conversation. Car all day, just say, hey, how's it going? Has it been busy lately? And what's going on in different areas? They'll tell you everything. You could always learn something from someone. So treat everyone with respect. What I realized for me, I never wanted to be the smartest in the room. Otherwise, you can't learn from anyone or get better. And that's how I started Curzio Research. I mean, I went to Weiss Research after Stansberry. I went there, I think, for 9 months. And it was kind of a joke. But when I was there, everyone was asking me what to do. And I'm like, well, of course, they didn't pay me for those extra services, right? But I was like, okay, I'm ready to open up my own business. And now again, I still surround myself with people who are smarter than me. This is why you're always learning something new. When it comes to different things and reading books, don't just read. If you want to learn, you have to do it. Do it. Have that experience. Have that emotion behind it. Experience the failure. Experience how hard something is and the dedication it requires, whatever it is. My daughter's in gymnastics. Some of those girls are absolutely amazing. The dedication it takes is incredible. But don't just read about something. Do it. I read about, I never shot a gun before. Now I'm a gun owner and, read about it. And then, a subscriber came here and showed me how to shoot. Did it. Now I shoot. And again, it's, you got to do things. Can't just read about it. And I can tell you, what I hear from a lot of entrepreneurs is they say, don't try, or successful entrepreneurs, don't try to start a company because you want to be rich. That's interesting. But when you look at the most successful entrepreneurs, they're going to tell you that they didn't care about making money when they started their companies. They were just passionate about their idea and something that could change the world. If that works, chances are you are going to make a lot of money. But if that's what you're thinking off the start, and that's why even when I look at the mining industry, where sometimes I don't like investing in companies that are just junior miners that their only purpose is to sell that asset to somebody else. Fine, if the price comes along, you got to do in the best shareholders' interest, right? I get it. But it's nice to see like, hey, this is my project. I'm developing this shit. It's going to take 10, 12 years. This is what we're going to do. Here's a plan. Here's how we're raising money. And if you get taken over, it's fine. But just, to have that, you're not passionate. I can't see the passion behind it. If you're just, hey, let me just buy this and then sell to somebody else. And successful businesses, usually the person running the show is very, very passionate. And most importantly, for me, again, my experience is here. And I get a lot of questions on this. Hopefully I'm not boring you. But work your ass off. There's no reason why you can't work your ass off. Work hard on everybody else. It should be easy if you're passionate about something, right? For me, Curzio Research, this isn't work. Dude, this podcast is not work. I love it. I'm going to interview great, great people. I'm going to learn from them, especially the guest I'm bringing on. Trust me, I've learned, and you're going to learn from them. But attitude reflects leadership. And if you're working your ass off and every one of your employees see this, it motivates them. They start to share your vision. They know how passionate you are about it. That's important, especially for culture. I've seen culture get destroyed. It's so many companies I've been at. It's terrible. People leave and they don't care anymore. They don't work hard. They dread going to work. It's a terrible environment when that happens. Terrible. And I can bet it's kind of like that at Robinhood right now. Once you lose that culture, it's, nobody wants to work there. Nobody wants to be a part of it. It's hard. It's hard. It's like trying to change someone's personality. You can't do it. It's so hard to get back to, hey, this is who we are now. But I don't have all the answers. I'm going to fail at things. I get emails saying, Frank, you're so successful. You're innovative. You'll launch your own company, launching, one of the first security tokens. But we're still a tiny company. I mean, things could change quickly. And if we fail to adapt, this business will fail. You're like, no, I don't know. It's true. I mean, it's not crazy. Think AOL. First company gave you the internet. Research in motion, right? They invented the smartphone. They don't even make them anymore. They failed to innovate. They failed to get ahead of it. And, Apple just said, hey, I like that concept, but we could do it better. And that's what happens. You always got to be on your toes. There's literally millions of people who started multi-million-dollar companies. But for me, I always stay humble. Always want to learn something new every single day. Always passionate about everything I do. Everything, which is kind of I hate doing things half-assed. Even playing a lot more golf now and getting a little bit better now. So, I'm passionate about things. I want to be good at them. I just don't want to, I could do this. No, I never half-ass anything. But be passionate about everything you do and always work hard. That's what you could control, right? That's what you can control.